We've got a pivot. This is nice. I can kind of just do this like smooth. It's like a gimbal.
Yeah. Is it a welcome back, or has it been a long time, or how's this?
This is just, we're going to keep working.
All right. All right, guys, welcome back to Pawpaw's Speed Shop. It has been a hot minute. Today, we're going to do something completely different, shifting focus to another project that you may have seen in the background of a few social media posts and things like that. This is our one owner, one family owned 1966 Pontiac Tempest custom convertible. And I know what you're thinking. This looks like a disaster. It's really not. This project has been around for quite a while. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but there's a lot of good stuff that's been done to this car. We've got a powder coated frame, fully repaired. We've got a Pontiac 400 right here. Smog edition, so it's guaranteed to make about 167 horsepower.
7.9 to 1. Boom.
It's gonna be good. But it's in Pontiac metallic blue, which is all that matters.
Proper color.
Period correct Mickey Thompson valve covers. But anyway, rust repair has been more or less mostly done on the car. There's a lot of good stuff going on with this thing. We got a 700 R4. We got a 12-bolt rear end in this thing. This thing's gonna be a sweet little cruiser for sure. But we need some help in the air and fuel delivery department, and that's where our good friends at Holley Performance have stepped up to help us out. So, all right, so here's the deal. As you know, Holley Performance specializes in world-class air and fuel delivery systems. For the Pontiac, we are helping to campaign and test for the new Holley Sniper V2. This is version 2 of the beloved Holley Sniper system. So this will be our third Holley Sniper that we've installed. Of course, we've got one running on the Galactic Conquest.
Yeah.
Proven reliability. Really cool in that car. But we need something set up for this. So Holley hooked us up. Let's see what's in the box. All right. First up is our Holley Sniper EFI Hyperspark. This should be our billet distributor.
Never touched one of those in my life.
Seen. Next in the box.
That looks familiar.
Bad boy in itself.
Hey, they didn't change the box at all.
No, they didn't.
Same box.
Don't change it if it ain't broke, right?
True.
All right, cool. So we got the actual unit itself. This is our ignition coil for the distributor. And this is...
Probably wiring, if I had to guess.
Wiring? Okay.
Probably.
And of course, can't be all just go. Got to have a little show too. So we got one of our Holley.
Look at that retro logo.
Isn't that sweet?
I like it.
Holley stamped steel air cleaner, just kind of look really clean, black, kind of help cover up the fact that we're running EFI and make all the old guys at the car shows kind of question what we're doing here.
Yeah.
All right.
Got one of them electric carburetors.
Come closer. Take a look at what we have on the table here. Got some good stuff. So here is the Sniper 2 throttle body. So this is basically a form of throttle body fuel injection made to look like a carburetor. So for those completely uninitiated with Holley Sniper systems, throttle body fuel injections for basically fuel injection conversions for carbureted vehicles, this is the powerhouse right here. Basically, all these components help to completely digitize your ignition system and bring it into the 21st century.
Yep.
All right, story time. Come closer. I'm not going to bore you, so calm down. Want to go over a few of the improved features / new features of the Sniper 2. So let's look at the main Sniper unit itself. So check out that throttle body surface.
That's nice.
Much more of a chamfered surface to direct airflow in a more kind and CFM friendly manner. I'm liking that. Upon other further inspection, fuel crossover line gone.
Fully cast.
Cast in there. That must be it right there. I kind of like the way that looked, but I get why they do it.
Yep.
Harness now exits through the rear of the
coming out the
module.
rear.
The old one used to come out through the front and kind of route it underneath the
It was hard to make it look pretty. You know, it's hard to make it look pretty.
So the old one kind of came out and went under. We had it kind of sitting on top of the valley pan, and you make it disappear behind the firewall as quickly as possible. Another new feature, slightly progressive throttle linkage we got here. Wonder why they did that. So for manual transmission guys, these things were pretty touchy, trying to work a clutch. These things would be pretty snappy. So it's not super progressive, but it's just enough, and I'm sure that that's done in an effort to improve drivability. very cool. I like that. Let me go over a few more of the heavy hitters before we sign off here and get to working. Let's see. Display screens. A few different ways to do that in this generation. There have been in the past too, but standard, you get your 3.5-inch LCD screen with stylus, and this is your setup install wizard. When you fire this thing up for the first time, you're going to go in here and put all your parameters in here. It's very easy. It's very basic questions, and what it does is it sets a basic fuel map, and then it goes into self-learning mode. It's pretty cool. It is pretty simple, and I will say, compared to some other engine control management companies, Holley does a pretty good job with the whole self-learning thing. We've always had pretty good luck with it. Another big heavy hitter on the list is radio frequency interference. We have never had an issue with radio frequency interference with some of the ignition components and the Sniper unit on cars that we have worked with. Granted, we have been working with LS motors with Sniper EFI, but the new Sniper 2 claims to have next generation ECU features, including improved radio frequency noise and interference resistance, i.e. stands up to old car wiring, noisy alternators, and faulty plug wires. So that's huge. I've heard a lot of stories, and there's been a lot of debate on social media on people who have had issues with radio frequency interference with a lot of old ignition components where things have really freaked the Sniper system out. That's great. That's obviously, for guys who are doing this to much older vehicles like this, that needs to be fixed. So, great improvement. As I mentioned when we ran down what we got here sitting on the table, of course, we've got the billet distributor, we've got the Hyperspark control module, and the coil. So another new feature is all of these products are made to be plug and play with each other to completely digitize your ignition system, which is super cool. New integrated transmission kickdown for popular transmissions such as GM family 350, 400, 200 R4, 700 R4, and Ford C4. What's a Ford?
I don't even think that's applicable.
Skip. All right. Anything else we should go over? Those are basically the sexy upgrades of the Sniper 2 platform. So over the next couple weeks, you are going to see us install all of this goodness on the Pontiac 400 and hopefully do a little driveway back and forth. These things are really simple to install. You do have to have an EFI rated fuel system to install one of these deals. It's very easy for popular platforms to get like a drop-in unit for a tank like a GMA body, which we did here. Even if you're working with something less common, you can still do it. I would advise that you have an in-tank pump versus an inline pump. It just helps those things stay so much cooler. And we have had some, or lack of luck, we've had some issues with inline pumps on higher horsepower applications too.
There's a reason the OE doesn't do it.
Yeah. Do what the OE does, right? Yeah. Okay. So, let's get to working. Okay, first day recap. Got a good bit done. This is all just sitting here because it looks so cool and I can't get over it. But the intake manifold is on for good. Intake's on for good. I got the thermostat and thermostat housing on in there. We had a little bit of trouble getting us a home for our coolant temperature sensor, and this bushing did not want to come out, so instead we just drilled it out and threaded it so it would fit. So that works for us. Got our new thermo clutch fan on here, which is a far cry from the direct drive 4-blade deal that was on this car when it was new, so that should help keep us cool. Next step is we got to find a home for this, the Holley Hyperspark coil, and I think it's rated to handle engine heat, maybe with a little bit of spacing. Maybe it would sit kind of right here off the head. That kind of looks at home. I don't know if I'd want to tack it to the firewall. To me, that would look kind of, maybe not so much period correct and a little bit too gaudy for me, but need to find a home for this. The ignition box itself, the control box, will probably go inside the car, maybe on the inside of the firewall. So we'll get this mounted up and find a home for it. That's not going to be super hard. But yeah, we're making headway. For the fuel system, Blaine has been
was working before he left on getting our fuel sending unit together. This is a tank from tanks.com, and we put a Walbro fuel pump with it. So Holley offers their own version of this. We just happen to have this already, so we're going to make it work. So Blaine took some time measuring and making sure that the sending unit was as low in the tank as possible so we could use full capacity of the tank. So we'll get this wired up. We got some fuel line and fittings coming from Holley, some Earl's goodness that we'll get going Monday, and get this thing back in the car. Yeah, getting the big pieces in place is not really that hard. It's, you know, kind of working back to front, getting your fuel system together and the wiring in place and finding a home that looks good for it. That's really all it takes. So yeah, not a bad start for the first day.
Basically, essentially, day 2 of really working on the Sniper EFI conversion on the Tempest. A couple things of note here. We've got a, I meant to hit on this in the first part of our video, but the Sniper 2 no longer has an internal fuel regulator, meaning you need to buy an external regulator. We assume that they probably did that for packaging, because obviously, basically this unit used to live somewhere in here, but with kind of having the front and back bowl look and being able to turn this unit sideways, they probably just made the decision to just remove that. So came up with a mounting place for that. Dad made this little bracket here, and so mounted that. That looks good. We got the Earl's Vapor Guard EFI rated fuel line running from back to front. So all that's good. It's a hard line return that we have in this car, which originally was going to be the fuel delivery, but we turned it into the return. So Earl's Vapor Guard for fuel delivery, hard line for return. The tank is in place and ready to go. So fuel, other than our blue wire to power the fuel pump on the main harness right here, is good to go. Not really pertinent to the EFI conversion, but we got to get this thing kind of to the point where we can do a driveway drive, so we're working on brakes. So this thing used to be a non-power brake car, single master cylinder. That's not going to do. It's all drum brakes all the way around. So a long time ago, we converted this thing to front disc, and we're going to do power brakes with a dual master cylinder here. So that should make us a lot safer in the neighborhood of brakes. So getting these bled right now, we're hooking these things up. It's going well, and that's just another step. This is one of those things that just takes a while, and before you realize it, you've spent all day on one of these systems. So, but it's going well. We're getting pretty close to the point where I think tomorrow we're going to have some pieces come in to make our spark plug wires. We'd like to use the ones that we have, but we need to put HEI style ends on the cap end of the wires. So we should be good there after we get those made, and do some more of the wiring, which is not really much to write home about. We should be ready to turn it over and see what happens. Big moment. 5 gallons of the freshest, guaranteed to age in 3 weeks. What is this? High octane? Is this 93?
It's no, it's 89 octane.
89? Okay.
10% ethanol.
All right, we got our brand new tanks.com unit in here with a fresh sending unit, and we're ready to give it some good stuff. Ugh. First time.
First fueling in 15 years. When was 2009?
14 years ago.
It would have been November of 2008 that we last put gas in this thing.
Yeah, that it drank from its own fuel source.
Yeah.
Mounted fuel source. And of course, because this is coming from a VP racing jug, that's like a christening.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
That'll guarantee it goodwill throughout its life.
Day 3 of working on the Tempest. We're pretty close. The only thing we need to do is basic power. So we got to connect battery positive, negative. We got to come up with a little lone wolf kind of situation for switched ignition, and we got to run power to the fuel pump back there. But everything else, it's good to go. Got lightning hoses installed. Some of this is just temporary right now. We'll change out some of these boots to look more permanent. Got the radiator in, got coolant in there. We need to hook up a battery, and we got our leads coming from the starter, alternator, pretty close. So we're gonna see how far we can get in just the next hour or so and see if we can bring the thunder. We're a few seconds away from seeing if we've got power. So we've got our screen hooked up. All of this wiring is temporary, by the way. Our goal today was just to get the thing to the point where we could start it and just prove how simple our 4-wire connection deal is here. So we've got, we're finishing up our ignition deal, but we've got battery positive and negative. We've got the fuel pump hooked up, and as soon as we figure out the ignition, we should have lightage on the screen and should be able to put in our parameters to give the Holley Sniper 2 a base map so that we can start this thing up and listen to this twin exhaust for the first time.
Are you ready?
Yep. All right. So there we go. We're doing something right. Okay, so this is what we love about the Sniper. This is so easy to set up. So we're going to start our little run wizard here. No calibration loaded in the ECU. So I'm pretty sure from memory we go to wizard, Sniper wizard. We're going to do Sniper 2. I hit next. All right, select your number of cylinders, 4, 6, or 8. We've got 8. Engine displacement. We got 400. This should be easier with the stylus that I'm not using right now. All right, so there's 400 cubes. Target idle speed. What do we want, 850 or 900?
Yeah, 850 ought to work.
Okay. All right, 850. All right, cam is definitely, from what we can tell, stock or mild. We got no power adders. All right, so ignition type, we've got our HyperSpark distributor. You can select different, whatever your setup is, but we've got the HyperSpark deal. So we're gonna use that. Type of distributor, we got the HyperSpark ready to run. That's right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, wide open throttle ignition timing. What you want?
Wide open?
Yeah.
It's 30.
30?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good in there. All right. All right, and there we hit start. So it's uploading this base map. There's the fuel pump. That's cool. So that means that's right. Please cycle the ignition to complete operation.
So turn it off.
I'm gonna hit OK.
You want me to turn it off?
I guess so. Yeah.
I can't see the fuel pressure from here, so I don't know if that
Oh,
pump
yeah.
is running forward or backwards.
Okay. All right. Now give me power back. Hopefully that saved my wizard calibration setup. All right. Should it say something right now?
No, it's
No.
probably bled back down.
What do we do? We start it now?
Well, let me turn the key back off,
Mm-hmm.
and then when it turns back on,
Yeah.
it turns back on and see what the fuel pump primes itself to.
Okay. It's not moving. Never moved.
It never moved.
Mm-hmm.
It's in posture. Yeah, we can check if it's close.
Yeah.
55 or 65 shouldn't matter.
All right. Thought we had the wiring and the fuel pump reversed, so we're gonna see if we have fuel pressure now. Yes. That's 20.
No, it only runs. Yeah, so it just barely got primed. So I'm gonna turn it off again.
Okay. Heard a little air pocket somewhere.
No,
Here.
that's the.
Oh, is that the?
That's it. Doing this little
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
intake air control thing.
All right, there's it.
There's 60. I'm just listening. I don't see anything. I'm just listening.
Yeah.
Okay. We got fuel coming out of this bung right here on the back of the regulator. I need an Allen wrench or something. You got your rag in case we need to choke things out or anything? You know your shutdown procedure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw the rag on top of the carburetor and run.
And run. All right. Let's see what it does. That's just the fender. That's just the fender. Don't worry. It's just the fender. Okay. It got into a rhythm. It's not supported. Alright, Dad got freaked out because the fender, the unsupported fender got into a rhythm and he thought he heard a knock. So we were about to look at vitals. Okay. But it sounded pretty okay.
Ended idle. We haven't even touched the throttle.
Well, I was about to look at that. It was idling like 980-ish.
All right.
Yeah.
Ignition on.
Yep.
Starter.
Yeah. Proven that you can easily get a Holley Sniper 2 system going with minimal amount of work. Now, obviously, we got to make this more permanent. We got a lot more work to do on the car, but it's as easy as that to get EFI reliability out of your old hot rod, which I highly recommend. We're looking forward to easy drivability, the garage not smelling like gas, and just knowing that we're probably not going to vapor lock when this thing goes on Hot Rod Power Tour in the future. So that. All right, final thoughts on the install of the Sniper 2 system on the Pontiac. For what you gain in reliability and drivability for the application of that car in cars just like the Pontiac, it's a no-brainer. It's well worth the investment. You gain so much by bringing a car like that into the 21st century with modern components, by losing the downsides of a typical carbureted system. Some pros to the Sniper 2 I've already mentioned earlier in the video. Move to an external fuel pressure regulator. I think that was a necessary move. It's one less thing inside the Sniper unit, which allows the unit itself to be smaller. You do have to buy an additional piece with your kit, but I think that's what I would choose to do if I was reimagining this whole unit. It's just, if something goes wrong with it, it's easier to service outside of the system. And that kind of leads me into the only piece of constructive criticism I might offer to Holley. I've heard several people say, can you service these things on your own? And the answer is yes. Will Holley tell you you can? No, not really. And I get why they don't. They want to make sure that if these things need servicing, that it's done correctly by trained technicians. But let's be honest, we're car guys. We're going to take things apart, right? Especially if stuff like that doesn't scare you, you'd prefer to know
how to work on it. If replacement parts are available, that would be good to know. To be totally transparent, we've taken a Sniper apart before. If you watch on our channel, you'll see our Chrysler Conquest build. We put an LS in a Conquest, and that car has a Sniper on it. We had some fuel issues with the car, had a rusty tank, and we hadn't refurbished the tank properly, and some crud got in the fuel lines, and we know, made it all the way to the Sniper unit and slightly clogged the injectors. Now, it's not anywhere in the manual for the Sniper, but we took the injectors out, and it's not a super complicated system, but I can see why they would probably not want you to take these things apart. Offering replacement components would probably be, in the long term, maybe a good avenue to explore for Holley. Full disclosure, we did get the car running again, put the Sniper back together, and I think I tore a fuel injector O-ring by accident when I was slipping it back into its little deal, and I replaced it with an LS fuel injector O-ring, and it was fine. I think it's the same part number, which totally makes sense, right? All in all, we've really only scratched the surface of the Sniper 2's capability for the car. Obviously, we need to put miles on it. That's where these things really shine, and I will say that the self-learning system for these things is pretty impressive. At least for Sniper 1 on our Chrysler Conquest, to mention that again, the first time we really put actual miles on that car was Hot Rod Power Tour 2022, and after 1,300 miles in that car, it was amazing how much the unit had picked up on the various conditions that we had put it in the height of summer, and I expect Sniper 2 to be as good, if not better. You saw how quickly the car started up. I was really impressed with that. It has basically no data except for its base fuel map that you put in with the install wizard, which I really love. It's just very, very few parameters you have to put in there, and the thing will fire up and idle. And as soon as it goes into learning mode, it's going to learn pretty quickly, and it only gets better as you drive it. So for those of you who may think that it's idling rough, or it may not be running good in this area, drive the thing. Drive it. Just get out there, drive it. Make sure you've got your timing correct, all the stuff necessary to set the Sniper up for success. But I promise you, it's going to get better. So not surprising, I would highly recommend Sniper 2 to anyone considering moving away from a carburetor. Carburetors certainly have their place in history and in our hobby, but if you're really wanting to get out and enjoy your car, this is a great way to make it a little bit more reliable, to not have the garage smell like gas, and to not worry about things like vapor lock. And the tuning capability increases exponentially with Sniper 2. The potential that you have to do tuning on the back end with your laptop is really, really cool stuff. And the self-learning feature, like I've mentioned time and time again, it's good stuff. For those who, you don't have to be a genius to put one of these kits together. If you have basic tools, basic understanding of wiring, and can read instructions, you can do this. It's really not that big a deal. With a can-do attitude, you can certainly get this done. So I want to thank Holley very, very much for letting us be one of the first ones to review Sniper 2. Really happy with it, and it's going to make the Tempest so much sweeter to drive and enjoy in those summer months coming up. So that's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please give us a like, maybe even subscribe, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the socials at Pawpaw Speed Shop, and we'll see you guys next time. If you're looking for more information on how to get your project equipped with Sniper 2, visit Holley.com.